Hey guys, it's Random Panda, and I'm going to be doing a commentary, would you say, on a creepypasta called Max and Ruby 0004. And it's going to be narrated by CreepsMcPasta, who is literally one of my favorite YouTubers. And I hope you guys like it. Let's see how it is. Where's my mouse? There it is.
It was just this Christmas went by, and things were getting busy. I had to start buying presents for the family. I had finished shopping, but I still needed to grab a present for my little cousin. She is not very hard to shop for since she's 4. She likes things like Peppa Pig and My Little Pony. She really liked, and I say liked for a reason, Max and Ruby. So, when I decided to go look for a present, I figured something like Max and Ruby DVD would have been perfect, since she liked to watch it on a daily basis. However, Christmas meant that most of the online DVDs were sold out in most places by now. I went to look on eBay as well, but I figured I could not trust what condition the DVDs would have been in, so I was stuck in a rut for a while, until that package arrived. I was at home still scrolling for a stupid DVD until I heard the sound of something being pushed into my letterbox. I caught a hold of it before my dog did and looked at the package. It seemed to be wrapped fairly badly, with what looked like grease marks and stains on it. Naturally, like anyone would, I decided to open the package. Inside was something that I could not explain. It was a Max and Ruby DVD, but I had not seen one like it online. It was like some kid had drawn on the front cover with marker. The title was just Max and Ruby, with what looked like a poorly drawn illustration of Max and Ruby on the front. There were no names or anything, but on the back it had a list of 4 episodes, all with blunt titles. Episode 1, Episode 2, Episode 3, Episode 4. I gave the DVD a watch over, and to my surprise, the episodes were perfect quality and seemed to have no flaws. It was as if it was a real DVD, just with a homemade cover. The only thing I thought was odd was the episode selection screen. The episodes had names, but they were all called Max and Ruby 1, with the number being changed as it went down the list. The actual selection screen was just plain white with black text with the episode list and nothing else. After giving it much thought, I decided to change the cover to something a little nicer by printing out a DVD cover that I had found on Google and tracked down the names of the episodes so they were labelled right. I left the episode list screen alone because I figured it was self-explanatory. Christmas went by and things were fine. I gave my little cousin a DVD and she was happy with it all through Christmas. But that was only because she had not watched it yet. On Boxing Day, the family had gone out for a meal and left me to babysit my cousin. I was not too bothered about being left at home. I figured now was a good time to put the DVD on for her. I had put the DVD in and let it play, while I was in the kitchen eating my dinner. From what I could hear, she had watched episodes 1 to 3 so far, and I was about to finish off my noodles when I heard my cousin screaming from the other room. Dropping everything, I had ran into the living room and saw my cousin curled up on the floor screaming.
What a surprise.
I had looked up at the TV and
Screwed up tape.
I had felt my heart in my throat. What I caught a glimpse of was the most disturbing thing I had ever seen.
Yes,
it was what appeared to be a frame of Max and Ruby standing next to each other in complete darkness. But what made it so horrible was their lack of faces. They had lost their noses and mouths, and their eyes were replaced with big, hollow holes. The colours were disgusting, blood red, and there was a faint static in the background. The sound was replaced with what sounded like Max and Ruby theme playing backwards, with a faint sound of static in the mix of it all. It had to be the most disturbing thing I had ever seen, and it must have been on screen for at least 20 seconds before the screen went black and the DVD turned off, which alone was weird because DVDs do not usually turn off by themselves. I was able to calm my cousin down, telling her it was not real and she had just had a nightmare as she fallen asleep in front of the DVD. However, I knew in my
Yes,
mind it was
that was a nightmare.
completely real. My parents had rung me up
It's
and
okay.
told me they were going to be out all night, so this was going to be the best opportunity to look at this DVD more closely. I did not mention it to them, and as soon as they hung up, I grabbed the DVD and stuck it into my laptop. As soon as it loaded, I noticed that episode 4 had now been replaced with R.I.P. Mommy and Daddy, which
Let's watch that.
sent a deep chill down my back.
How bad
Since
could
my
that be?
cousin was now asleep, I plugged in my earbuds so she can sleep without having to hear anything. Normally an episode of Max and Ruby would have 3 short stories, but this episode only had 1. It started off quite light-hearted. Max and Ruby were playing tag in the garden, and their parents were on the porch watching them play.
But I
However,
used to love
something was
Max and
off.
Ruby,
The sound was
and I
playing
used to love
in
Strawberry
reverse,
Shortcake.
and the parents'
But the
faces
only
were
reason why I liked
that
her
of sadness.
and bought her DVDs,
A film grain
well,
became
wanted her
present,
DVDs,
which grew worse and
was
worse every second, and it panned to the mother and father,
her
and in a
DVDs
deep voice of
smelled
sorrow,
like
the father
strawberries.
spoke. "It's such a shame," he sighed. It then cut to a
He knew
short
his kids were demon
sound of
children.
static with a large scream, followed by the sound of 2 people choking while their mother and father mumbled to each other in the background.
It's like
But it
a
was
Jerry Bell.
impossible to understand them.
It's what the number one
The sounds were so realistic. It made me almost physically sick. The screen cut to white for a split second, then the scene transited over to Max and Ruby, standing in front of what looked like a gravestone labelled R.I.P. Mommy and Daddy. The 2 of them had no faces. At this point, there was no sound apart from faint static. The scene remained on screen for about a minute and a half before it cut away into black. It then changed scene again, now showing Max and Ruby sitting in Ruby's room while undecipherable whispering became apparent and grew louder over time. Both of them were sobbing uncontrollably while transparent clips of a murder playing in reverse flashed on the screen. The father pulled a knife out of his neck, picked up a bloody axe and
I would
hacked
be
away at the
crying
corpse
too.
of the
And
mother
it's no
before
wonder why
she
the
came back to
cousins
life
screamed.
and he walked up the stairs.
I think if any
By this
4-year-old
point, the
child saw
whispering
that,
became
they
louder,
would scream
and
too.
more of the whispering voices started to disappear. And the very second it came down to one voice, it was a very angry woman's voice who screamed, "Burn in hell."
Okay,
I was absolutely
come on
terrified.
guys, we're taking a trip.
The scene had changed to the most disgusting yet saddest thing I've ever witnessed. It showed Max sitting in his room. He was standing on a chair with a noose hanging from the ceiling.
Oh,
He had brought
beautiful.
it around his neck.
Thank you.
The scene faded
That's
to
so
black
sad.
and the static got louder. Almost instantly, it then cut to Ruby walking in on her brother. She
Why?
let out a gut-twisting scream.
Who would?
The camera panned on her face
I
as the
would be
sound of the chair
crying.
being kicked
That's
and the
so
same choking
sad.
from before began to play. The picture of Ruby's face stayed on the screen for a good 5 minutes. This time, her eyes had returned instead of the gaping holes.
Yay.
Ruby then started crying,
Well,
and as before,
how would you
there were
feel
no
if your
other
brother
facial
died
features.
and your parents killed each
The
other?
static slowly grew louder and drowned out the sound of her cries. The scene cut to black with the loud static. When the screen returned, Ruby was sitting, now on her own, in the garden by 2 gravestones, one labelled R.I.P. Mommy and Daddy, and the other R.I.P. Brother. She then started to look down at the camera with glowing blue pupils, then spoke to
Wonderful.
me. Well, whoever's watching this is because you never watched any of me and my brother's episodes.
Obviously,
So, one of these
he
days,
did, because he
you
said
will
earlier
regret this.
that normally a Max and
The
Ruby
screen had faded to
episode
black afterwards.
would have 3
At this point,
stories,
I had
but
already
this
been
one
sick
didn't.
and was sitting all shaken. The episode seemed to have come to an end at last, as the Max and Ruby theme slowly played. I was about to eject the DVD when the same image came up like it did on the TV. This time, however, there was text above the 2 rabbits that said, "Death is our only release."
They're coming for you.
There was no credits or anything else. It stayed on this for a few seconds before the DVD finally popped out of my laptop. I sat there, trying to contemplate what had happened. In my shock and fear, I made the stupid decision to break the DVD as much as I could before leaving the house, shove the pieces down the drain. Thankfully, I kept a few screenshots and saved them on my laptop.
Why would you save a
The next couple of
screenshot of
days
that
went
on your
past without
laptop? I wouldn't
anything
have done
unusual
anything. I
happening.
would have been upset.
I had a few nightmares about the DVD,
I just
but
witnessed a murder
luckily
and
that was all.
Max kill himself. No.
My cousin had gone back home with the rest of the family. It was late at night and my parents had gone out for dinner, leaving me to watch TV. I heard what sounded like someone posting something through the door. At this point, the DVD had left my mind, since I had not told anyone about it. However, it all came flooding back when I looked down at the letter in front of me. It was messily folded and it read, "Death is our only release."
Like I said, they're coming for you. Dun dun dun. Okay, that was actually really not creepy.
As you may know, the popular show
upsetting.
Ed, and Eddie has
Shush!
been running for a long
YouTube,
time.
you screwed it up. That was like not really creepy, but more upsetting. I can't like fathom why someone would even just kind of fake all that. That's so sad. But either way, it was good. It had like a good, you know, like, oh shit, I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight kind of thing. I liked it. Leave a comment about any other creepypastas you want me to react to or whatever. I know I'm going to be doing an anime review once I finish the anime I'm watching, and then I think that's about it. So subscribe, hit the like button, hit the dislike button if you didn't like the video, leave comments, and subscribe to become part of the Panda Army, and we will rule the world. Okay, goodbye. Where is my mouse?